and welcome to the Ouchcast. With me as always is Enrique, being the usual himself. How's it going, buddy?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, I'm on. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, you were not cute yet.
Did you say I'm not cute yet? I mean, I'm pretty cute. I've been told I was.
Yeah, they lied to you.
Oh, man.
And
I'll
joining us
have
today,
a talking to your mom about that.
Oh, mom joke already.
Mom joke already.
Keep it professional, guys.
Said Robert.
What's up?
What's up, buddy?
What's going on, man?
Thank you for coming back.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me back.
Enrique, we couldn't get rid of him.
I know. Hey,
Damn it.
I know. After that last episode.
I
That's
told
funny.
you, dude. I told you, change the number, but no.
Hey, I can't stop you from doing what you do, Angel.
Oh, man.
Heaven knows I tried.
All kidding aside, thanks for coming back, bud.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
for
no, for
inviting
real.
me.
Yeah, thanks.
Much
for-
love.
yeah.
And then today, someone that I'm really excited to be in the studio with us is Gman.
G-Man.
GG. GG.
That's my cue. Hey there, hello there, bats and ghouls.
Oh my God, take us off. I love you. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm great. I'm excited to be back here at Undercity Comics.
Yeah.
hanging out with you guys.
Yeah.
The Ouch podcast.
Yeah. Welcome to the Ouchcast, buddy.
Welcome.
This
So
is
for those of
wonderful.
you who don't know, if you guys hear some of the episodes before, we actually always talk about Into the Void, which is a great freaking podcast that is by the ghost host to my right now, Gman. It's a paranormal. It's actually one of the only good paranormal podcasts out there because most that I've listened to are crap.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, they're crap.
Thank you. I
Because,
appreciate that.
First of all, I mean, he actually has good case studies. He does bring a good narration to them, and it's not just fluff like most of the other ones. Like I've had some where they're like, yeah, I know it's haunted because I saw an orb. And it's like, yeah, dude, it's called
of
dust. Bitch, please. Or they talk about skinwalkers and stuff, and it's like,
Oh,
no, dude, that's just
that's the latest thing, right?
I am so over the Skinwalker crap.
Amen, man.
I'm
Amen.
so
Although
over
I
that.
did see a video the other day that I was laughing because it was like it was creepy, but I know what it is. It was in Mexico. There was a security camera which shows there's a fence and you see a white dog walking. Then after it comes around the corner, you could see it do a couple steps, and then all of a sudden this thing morphs into a shadow of a man walking away.
I've seen that one. Yeah.
That's called bleeding. It's a camera effect that happens with most security cameras when the data is on the same microchip over and over again. After a while, it starts taking the projections of old video and just superimposing into the most current one.
No, I saw the same effect on that Michael Jackson video, Black or White,
That was better graphics. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things that I find to be upsetting when it comes to like investigations and paranormal investigations is that even now today you have apps and special programs to be able to bleed everything together or things to be able to blend together.
Oh, yeah.
And so it makes it harder to even agree with the video or agree with the person whether they're having an actual paranormal attack or not.
Yeah, it's true.
Nothing's bigger than the Chupacabra, man. Remember those?
that was 95, 94, 95.
That was a big
No, they're
thing.
ignorant. That's ignorant.
dude.
And then it made it on the news, and people were just like, "What's
They
a
made a song about it,
chupacabra?"
right? They made a song out of it.
Oh,
and-
yeah.
I just recently found out what a duende is. You guys
troll.
Okay.
But troll, it's like a Mexican troll. I didn't know that.
They're big in Mexico.
Yeah, apparently,
No pun intended.
If they exist.
It's a circle.
it's a straight line. Yeah. So I saw a video. It's from a distance, and they always are, right? They're always from a distance.
Blurry from distance.
There's like up the street, and in Mexico, all the streets are like pretty much
Yellow.
they're
The one with the pointy hat?
no.
That was great.
So you want to tell this story?
No, go ahead.
Oh, good. Thanks. Okay.
Damn. Bitch, party of one.
This is the chemistry. Love you, baby.
Cállate, güey.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I just want to say, I know I said this earlier, but I listened to your guys' show and wow.
See, I don't know how to interpret the wow. Is it a good wow? Is it a bad wow? Is it a like, eh?
It's a vinaigrette kind of wow.
Yeah, there we go. It's a vinaigrette kind of wow. I like
Savory.
that.
Yeah.
It's like when the taste of the show hits you and you're like, okay. And then you're like, oh, wait, that's like, oh, okay.
I don't know if I like that or not, but
I'm so confused now. I'm
That's what she said.
I mean, back then, I was willing to try anything at that time. So
he was young. He needed the money.
yes.
So anyways, the story.
Dirt roads, Mexico, up the street. This girl it's a girl, I believe, who's narrating it. And it was hard to make out. I mean, that's the thing, because you've seen these things on a phone. It's like, it's not on a computer or TV screen. And so supposedly right up the street, there's like this little dark shadow, and it's small and it's walking. And then I forget what made it odd. I think it was just that the way it moved. And so it's like, oh, it's a duende. And everybody in the comments, it's a duende. And I'm thinking, what the hell's a duende?
It's a marionette. Someone was on the side.
But
So
it
Mexico,
was
you
cool.
say?
Yeah. I mean,
You hate Mexicans?
gosh, I hope not. That's a self-hating thing we got, right?
When you started talking, I thought you were going to mention the one, and I know you've seen it. I don't know about you, but there's this one where these kids, it's somewhere in Latin America. They're playing at night, and they see them playing soccer on the dirt road and stuff, and they hear noise. There's a yellow spotlight or a light over them, and they move to the side, and there is something like a 3-foot tall, straight out of cartoons or Switzerland, Norway, a gnome. It's not a duende, a gnome with the pointy hat.
Really?
And this thing does a sidestep hustle, comes out like kind of funky, like and then all of a sudden the kids, oh my god, they run off.
And then, like in that movie, the guy with the glasses, they're eating them. They're gonna eat me.
I thought that's what you were going to bring up.
No, now you need to send me that. That sounds pretty trippy. I have never seen that one. I mean, honestly, my favorite paranormal video up to this point is this one guy. It's a security guard in Mexico. They're always in Mexico. Right? And it's at a supermarket. And this guy's like talking.
Oh yeah.
I showed it to you, right?
Yeah, you showed it to me. That
so
was pretty good.
he's like, hey, look, I don't know what's going on, but over there in the distance, and there's like across the aisle, it's almost like a Costco looking place.
Actually,
he says there's something
let me
there.
interrupt you. We did talk about it on the last Things That Go Ouch in the Night, but continue.
That was like last year, right?
Yeah, last year, yeah.
And just and all you see is like this little dark figure just pop its head out, and he says, "I swear, I'm the only one here." And then like he's showing it again, and then it's a little bit closer in one of the other aisles, and so it's just creepy and cool.
It is a very creepy one. That is a good one.
Only thing you can assume, you have to trust the guy that he's the only one there. I mean, it looks by all accounts that he is, but it's very creepy. That's the kind of paranormal stuff that I like. That other one that you mentioned, that there's too much of that stuff out there, and I'm completely turned off by that stuff.
I am too, but I do like stuff that is not the normal haunt. You know what I mean? The things that are like inhuman, like demonology or cryptology, and anything, or what I call elementals. That's another one that I'm into. But
I like that title, elementals. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you listen to the show, but I always talk about something that happened here in Uptown to me about 20 years ago.
Oh yeah.
About that weird
I heard that last night, actually.
Yeah. That I still, this day, I don't know what happened. And I mean, I had physical evidence on the car. It got broken. It got hit. The hood got hit. And my friend didn't see anything. He felt the hit, and I saw it. And to this day, it wasn't human. It looked like a big dog. I don't know what the hell it was.
And remind me, where was this? Where were you
on
at?
Greenleaf.
On Greenleaf. Okay.
But on the corner right there where it turns on the industrial side of Greenleaf, all the way down there. Like where it's Schumacher, and then it becomes, or Shoemaker, and it becomes
Shoemaker.
Greenleaf.
I was
funny. Right there. On the other side of that is where that little small one plot cemetery is.
Yeah.
It's literally on the other side of that. I didn't know that till years later, though.
I'll tell you this, though. It does kind of bring up the whole Turnbull Canyon monster, supposedly. I just learned about this. Mm-hmm. I have been doing a lot of research on Turnbull Canyon and just the hauntings that have supposedly been happening there, or even the story of the girl who was dragged down the road. There was an actual case that was created about a car going down Turnbull Canyon with a body in the back of the car. So there is a police case, a record of that. But as far as a body being dragged down there, I don't know for sure. However, I just learned that there's a supposable monster or beast of some sort that lives up there.
Have you heard of the gates of hell? There's a gate up there that's like barred. My brother's the one who told me about this, but
it's P. Diddy's summer home. That's what it is.
there's a bunch of lube on the side, like some baby oil.
It's a horror.
No,
It is closed.
Horror.
So
Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher are, hanging out there.
So when
I'll be right
Robert
back, guys.
back in the day, Robert and I don't know if you remember this, but we hung out with David Roger. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
We all got together. I know you were there. I'm pretty sure you were there. We all got into a car with him, and we drove up to Turnbull Canyon, and we were with a bat. We were like doing that whole smacking of the mailboxes. We were dicks, right? We were jerks when we were like kids.
Nothing has changed.
But one of the things that we also did was talked about even back then we've heard all the stories, and there's different variations of the Turnbull Canyon ghost. I mean, one is a monster, another one is supposedly a girl who you hear this story, by the way, across America. It's by far an urban legend. Where
absolutely.
this girl is on the side of the road, and if you somehow acknowledge it, if you pull over, it'll stay in the car with you.
I like you.
No, it's not that, but it will stay in the car with you until you get to the bottom of the road, and then it'll disappear. If you don't pick her up and you look in your back mirror, it'll show up in the back mirror, and she'll start like screaming at you to let me out, or something to that effect.
Sounds like my
Now,
ex.
that particular one, I don't believe that one, just mainly because you hear different versions of that all across America. So maybe somewhere in America it really happened. I don't know, but
The story evolves.
Yeah.
With time.
There's got to be a grain of like truth behind it, or a seed of truth behind that story.
Well, the best stories are, right?
They take it from somewhere.
I mean, there is some truth behind that story, and that is just the police report stating about finding a body in the back of a car. But that's it. As far as like being dragged down or anything like that, there was no thing about being dragged down. But also, going up there at night, obviously it's really eerie because there's no lighting up there.
Yeah.
We were,
Lights at the top of the hill and lights at the bottom of the hill, but
I
that's
love it up there. We just did a ride, my family and me, when the Northern Lights were reported. So we thought maybe if we go up there, we can watch something. And we went all the way up, and I was just like, God, I used to drive this all the time.
Yeah.
You know? I haven't done it in years. Nothing paranormal happened. We saw a gorgeous deer, but that's about it.
Yeah.
It's like crickets.
So the cool thing about Turnbull Canyon, for those who are listening, is that it's smack in the middle, like, of LA. That's urban decay, right? But for some reason, this land looks, for just a little bit of it, looks almost like you're out in the countryside. Just for little parts of it, it's enough that when you're young, it's a place where you can go and hang out and get lost and do fun things there. Now, when I was a kid, I found different roads to where I can park. And in fact, on the top of the hill, right before you get to the houses where you start to go downhill again, there's a part where you can park, and there's these barn gates that you can walk through and make your way to the top of the hill. And on top, there's I want to say it's a
tower. Right?
Yeah, it's some type of signal tower.
Yeah.
Now that whole little road also leads to this other hiking trail that you can take. And at night, like, imagine you, about 5-6 of your buddies, and then suddenly the imagination races because you're there by moonlight. You're the creepy sounds, and everyone's just trying to outdo each other and scare each other. Again, kids who never go out to the countryside are here in Turnbull Canyon feeling like they are, and we're just like full on 9 talking like ghosts. And did you hear that? And that's where all of these urban legends started coming. So I heard the one about the girl. Then I also heard about I didn't hear about the Devil's Gate until much later. That was my brother who told me that one. But I also heard about how a serial killer was camped out there and they caught him there. Now I don't know if that's true or not, but supposedly because of that, there's some paranormal sightings based on that. I don't know if I buy it, but
The one that I heard was that the reason why it's not developed is because the Gabrielinos, or the Tongva, whatever they're called, the natives of the area, said that was a black spot. Like that's an area that was off limits to them, and they said that was just a bad mojo.
So the Native Americans,
that's what I heard. I've never researched it. I heard it from someone, a native, like years ago when I was like in my 20s.
Sure.
And it just kind of stuck with me. I'm like, I can see it. That's why it's not developed. But then why would the colonizers not take advantage of it? I don't know.
One of the other stories I heard over there was the airplane crash.
That did happen.
That is something
that has happened. There's a news article that did happen. There also was, in the 1940s, there was a science lab up there.
Really?
Yeah, there was a science lab up in Turnbull Canyon.
Really?
Yeah, and Enrique, can you look it up? Because I know it's a thing. They used to do some experiments with like electricity and stuff up there.
What was it called now?
I mean, that would make more sense.
It's a science. It
small
was
town.
a science laboratory in Turnbull Canyon, like it disappeared. There's news articles about it.
Man, the cool thing about
things
that
came
spot,
out.
The Electrodome.
Yeah, that's the one.
Electrodome.
The Electrodome.
Oh, okay.
Supposedly, I just found the name, but I haven't really. Let me do a little quick research while you guys are talking, and I'll chime in a minute.
I know there's 1 or 2 articles that I read about it, like 1 or 2 paragraphs, like micro.
But is that the only? Is that the location? The one that
I was
everyone?
microfish.
I think it's that same location with the where you go up the trail, and then in the very top is like a tower, but it's still spaced out. And the cool thing about that spot is where every direction you turn, it's city.
Yeah,
that's why.
Yeah.
Is that the same spot?
No, it's not the same spot.
It's a different spot. Okay,
The Electrodome, if I remember, that used to be where the plane crash was. But the plane crash happened in the 50s. The Electrodome actually went out of commission in the 1930s or 40s, something like that.
Okay.
I thought that was something recent.
No, but still, it's something that it's kind of shrouded in mystery because
Right.
there's not much documentation about it. But it is something that existed, and there
Was
is.
it? I mean, like, was it government related,
No.
or just like what someone decided to build a lab up there and was like, I'm gonna.
There's a name attached to it. I should have prepared for this, but I actually have a day job.
We just
So just let me give you guys a little bit of facts, and I'll put air quotes just because it's from a website called theweirdandOdd.com.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So they have like the history of Turnbull Canyon, and so they actually have quite a bit of information here. So I'm not going to read it all, but I will say that there was a guy named Robert Turnbull
Yes.
who in the 1870s in San Gabriel Valley, he's the one who this valley is named after. Apparently there was water that ran through there. He successfully herded sheep there, and he had a house there. And so at one point he was arrested, and his body was
sheep, right?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
He was arrested for public drunkenness and falling off his
Sure got a permit.
Now here's where it gets interesting.
Having relations with a sheep. They don't put that
they're
on
just-
there.
Read between the lines.
Okay, I will be
Drunk and disorderly.
Here, let me pinch
leads
and
to-
expand. Okay, there it is. Sheep fucker. There it is.
Remember,
Done and done.
Remember, drunk and disorderly leads to sheep fucking.
Oh,
Yeah.
shot. That's a shot. Enrique cuss.
Yeah.
You know what? Okay, so anyway, so the Electrodome. During the late 19th and 20th century, droughts were very common from the Midwest, blah, blah, blah. And so they created the Electrodome. It was meant to be a rain-making tower. It's actually, honest to goodness, rain-making tower is what they were trying to make. Damn. So, yeah. And so in the early 1930s, William Hyde made his mark as a rainmaker with his invention of the Electrodome, and the device would generate negative electrical currents into the atmosphere and create a pulsating direct current from the ground to the sky. So all of this was based off an old existing oil tower that was located in Turnbull Canyon. So with the laboratory sitting on an 80-foot tower, the Electrodome reached 125 feet from the ground to the sky, and the final test of his experiment happened on New Year's Eve at the stroke of midnight in 1932. Obviously did not work. So there you go.
My main question is, did he go back to the future?
That is a very not funny question, but yeah.
Okay. That's the rim
By
shot.
the way, the next thing on this is about the flight you were talking about, Flight 416W on April 18th, 1952.
Yeah.
Airline, it was going to land in LAX, and while landing, the gear was fully extended. The left wheel of the plane struck a ridge near Turnbull Canyon, causing the pilot to lose control, causing the plane to crash into a steep hillside. The plane exploded into flames instantly, and all 29 on board were killed. So
29.
So 29 souls in that place, right? We can account for 29 souls there.
And Fabio hit one. Damn, dude.
The Devil's Gate is collecting.
That's right.
I love it up there, though.
So, of course, the investigation discovered that the pilot of the plane was flying with a restricted medical certificate. So, wow, the crash, if you look at this picture, it's a brutal one. I mean, just strewn trash all about. I mean, everybody just died on this thing.
That's the one.
Richie!
Guys, KKK, satanic cults, and UFOs all cited in Turnbull Canyon as well. So it's rife with information. Wow, we should have probably done our research and read this a little bit more thoroughly before this episode.
Well, we don't know we were going to talk about that. You're the one who brought it up.
Yeah, but it's good stuff.
I'll take blame for that. I kind of brought that up.
No, that's good. It's all good. I always blame Enrique for everything, especially that ghost shirt he's wearing.
Thanks again, Enrique.
Thanks, Enrique.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
No, dude, that was wow. What's the website again?
So it's the Weird and the Odd.
Weird
The weird and the
And the
odd.com.
odd.
Or go to Into the Void. I'm just kidding.
or just go to
Just go to Into the Void. Just watch it there.
What I love about all this paranormal stuff is that, like, I've discovered that you can expand out as much as you want. I'm so sorry. I just saw this.
What? Oh, Brian?
That is creepy on every level.
He just found the picture of Brian that I found a few weeks back and just had a lot of fun with it.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Now I'm going to put him up here and
Yeah, we
we'll
posted
talk
him.
to Brian for a while
We
here.
posted him in our story on
Hey, Brian. Hey,
IG.
Gman, you're awesome. But yeah, so talking about paranormal stuff is awesome because I love the fact that there's so many stories, like other cities. We've got like LA, and then we got San Francisco, and we got Las Vegas, and we got I don't know about Oakland, but
Oakland's scary for other reasons.
Oh, it is. But what's interesting is then you start to discover all the mysterious stuff in your own hometown.
Yeah.
That is something to be really thought about. Is like I grew up here in Whittier.
Yeah.
I grew up here in Whittier. I went to Whittier High School. And so getting into the paranormal at a young age was like, oh, I'm curious about what does Whittier have and stuff. And there's a lot of like places out here, like the Bailey House. That's another supposable haunted area. You got the Cemetery Park. What is it? The
Founders Park.
Founders Park.
Right by my house.
Yeah, Founders Park over there.
There's nothing there.
And that's really cool. But then you start to get into like the details of it. So I just recently went to a museum called the Homestead Museum over in City of Industry, and I learned about the Mr. Workman, and I found out that he killed himself in his own home.
Yeah.
And then people just walk through there on a tour, like, hey, this is where he worked, this is what he did and stuff. And I'm like, that's great, but can we go back to the fact that, like, he murdered himself?
Yeah.
Like, what?
And if you look to the left, there's the blood splatter where he killed himself.
Right? Yeah. Like, this is Workman's home.
Now
This
buy
is-
a T-shirt.
Yeah, this is the kitchen. This is the bed. This is where he hung himself or killed himself or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, and don't forget to buy your shirt on the way out.
Oh, right.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know, you don't realize, like, how much paranormal history or mystery you're going to find.
Right.
Until you start doing the research. And it's just like, at that, no pun intended, but that blew my mind. Like, it really did. It blew my mind finding that
They're
out.
selling rope and it rolls $2 a foot. With like, and that's true. There's like the history. The one thing that I would like to learn about is the Queen Mary.
Oh,
There's a lot
of it in that, right?
I hate to do this to you,
caught
but-
something at the Queen Mary, by the way.
I hate to
film.
do this to you,
I had
but
it
you need
cold.
to come onto my show then, and then because we're gonna have an entire Queen Mary.
Oh
event
my
coming up.
God.
So,
I'll send you the picture that I took and the story. I'll write it up for you.
or you can just come on the show and show me too.
I mean,
Oh,
the
I can do
night,
that too.
Yeah.
Oh, I can do that.
yeah,
Whatever.
we have an entire
nightmare-
Queen Mary thing coming up.
the
But
nightmare right now is the getting there.
Have you been on the Queen Mary?
I've been on the Queen Mary, and there's been times where I've been wanting to do, I guess the pool, right?
Oh,
there's
yeah.
no
Yeah.
access to the pool, but then there's access to the pool. Oh, there's no access to the pool. And
That's
then
where I got my picture.
yeah,
At the pool.
and then
a lot
there's
of people get their picture at the
and then there's
pool.
the room. I guess there's own specific room that it's
B340?
haunted. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the one.
And of course, it's kind of weird that they say, "Oh, the propeller is very scary to watch it." And it's
Yeah,
like,
if you look
I
at it,
don't
there's
know.
fish in there.
Yeah, it's green.
And Trey Anastasio goes, never mind.
I want to say it was back in 2008, 2009. There was a club that they would have there every Friday or Saturday at the Queen Mary, and you entered through the bottom,
Okay.
and it would you would go through all the back, like through around the sides, and then once you get inside, it was there was this, it was like 3 or 4 stories high inside, so you had like access to the different floors and bathrooms, and then the main like dancing area was the boiler room area.
Okay.
So it was kind of interesting because it was almost
Wow.
like this. It was like this large. I want to say it was like a square, and there was these gates, and you essentially do. I don't know why they would allow this, because if you were drunk, you could fall off the side down.
Right,
into the
yeah,
boiler.
there's railings.
But people were there, and I remember I would go there like quite a bit, and there was it was just crazy. I mean, the drunkenness that happened, like not just myself and other people, it was crazy. But I knew one of the promoters, and we'd stay there late, like afterwards, helping clean up and stuff. And so we would hear things. Like you think,
Oh,
okay, what's the
man.
boat? It's probably the water splashing, but it sounded more like footsteps. And you think, okay, well, there's probably people upstairs walking around. But it turns out that there's like a big buffer between the 3-floor area and then the other area where people would stay at the hotels. There were like big buffers, so you wouldn't really hear the echoing of that. It was just really odd,
Right.
And you can always sense like a palpable kind of feeling that people were watching you. I didn't see anything specific. I just, you just know when you're being watched, and and there's a sense of dread that you felt from there. So I know I felt that for sure.
I'll tell my story on his podcast.
Yeah.
To be continued.
I'm totally raising my hand right now. I have to, because I have to tell this story. I just got to tell you guys. Okay, so like I said, we're going to talk about the Queen Mary on the show and everything.
Oh, what show are you going to talk about this?
Into the Void, actually.
Into the
Is
Void.
it Into the Void?
When?
When is it Into the Void?
It will happen when it happens.
Oh, come on.
You got to tune in to find out.
Gosh, cliffhanger.
So, this happened to me actually, and I'm going to tell the story again on the show. This happened to me around 2000. I'm going to say 2005, 2006. It was right before I was going to join the Army. I decided to go on the Queen Mary. I was like, you know what? I'll be honest, I was homeless, and I decided, you know what? I'm going to check out my city. I've never been in LA and, rid the bus or whatever. So I rode the bus all the way into Long Beach, then went on the Queen Mary. Of course, in order to go on those tours, you got to pay for it.
Right.
So I did the one thing that, by the way, boys and girls, don't ever do what I did. Okay. I went up to the person who was about to give the tour, and I told him I lost my ticket. I don't know where my receipt's at. Like, I just paid for it, blah, blah, blah. And the person was so nice. They were like, okay, well, just join the group. You're good. Come on with the group. You're fine. And I was like, all right. Nice.
Life hack.
It still works, probably.
It probably does, actually. You shouldn't do it, but if it does, let me know. So it was me and this guy, Joe. He was a truck driver, really nice guy. And he and I decided, okay, we're going to go on the tour. We're going to do everything. So we do the tour. They do the little lights and sound and everything. You go in the pool, all that fun stuff. It was great. It was a little freaky, but it was great. It wasn't until after we left the group, and I decided, all right, I'm going to walk down this hallway. I want to just kind of see, like what's on the other side of the boat and stuff.
Right.
So I'm walking down the hallway, and all of a sudden, I just have this like weird, like feeling that I want to cry.
Yeah.
Like it was like this overwhelming feeling of dread, of sorrow. Like I'm almost never going to see. Now, here's the thing too. In the time of my life, I was going through a lot of turmoil.
Right.
So it kind of made sense that would happen, where if I'm going through so much and whatever's in that boat or on that boat with me,
it enhanced it.
Oh my picked
gosh.
up on what was my emotions.
Yeah.
And then I'm picking up on that
Someone
emotion.
else's emotions.
Yeah. And I remember just standing there going, this is weird. Like, why do I want to cry? And then just going, okay, whatever. So I go back over to my friend. I said, come with me. So we go down the hall, the same hallway. And I'm like, how do you feel? And he goes, I feel fine. Like, I don't really feel anything. Why? And I said, okay, that's weird, because I felt like I was going to cry, but whatever. We're about to walk away. I take a step forward, and all of a sudden, just tears start building up again. Whoa. Like, I want to so I just let him happen.
Yeah.
And he turns around, he goes, dude, are you okay? And I said, I don't know. I have no idea. But every time I'm over here, I just want to cry the entire time.
Yeah.
And then a few feet from us, I'd say on our right side, about maybe 20 feet from us, was one of those placards that said, this area that you're standing in has had multiple hauntings or multiple interactions.
Oh, my God. Which
blew my mind. And I was like, what the heck? So we ran to tell someone, like, hey, here's what's going on. Like, I don't know why. As I'm going to find this person, I remember, like, the dread feeling was staying with me the entire way now.
Yeah.
So we find somebody who opens up this room. It's a special room on the Queen Mary where if you have a paranormal encounter, you can input your own information on what happened. So he takes us in the room, and I got to put down what happened to me. And he had this look first of like, okay, well, everyone says they have a ghost experience. But I told him, I said, no, I don't understand why I'm feeling this way. As soon as I said that, he looked at me like, oh, we have a ghost, issue here. And so he took us into the room, and he says, we barely take people to this room. We only take people to this room that we know and that we can see that it's a genuine connection. Yeah.
Was it stateroom B340?
It has to be that one. Well,
No, we were below B340.
but still, I
We were
think
below.
I think what show was it? The Ghost Hunters, or no, it was some other show where they did that. They stayed there overnight.
Yeah.
No matter where they're at, as long as I guess it has its radius.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Either
yeah.
above or below.
That's
or
what I'm
there.
thinking. Yeah, there's a radius
if,
of it.
If you're standing wherever, I mean, hey, yeah, something.
But I mean,
could
that
happen,
ship,
man.
all over that ship has had so many
Yeah,
deaths.
see, and that's why
It was like
it's
over
just
52
curious,
deaths on that
man.
ship or something. And so,
Holy shit!
Yeah, so supposedly there's over like 100 ghosts that haunt the place.
Right.
That's the count that they have. I don't know like exactly how they come up to that number, but that's the number that's given.
It's a ghost census.
Yeah.
Ghost census.
They go every
The
year.
government does it every
goes-
7 years.
Yeah, every 7
Like
10 years. But yeah.
how did you immigrate from here?
Yeah.
It's an original ghost ship.
Yeah.
Man. Like,
So
dang.
the
it really is, yeah.
the stateroom that I just brought up and that Robert's also alluding to is it's called Stateroom B340, and it's such a intense like a space that most people avoid going there.
Yeah.
And it's so frequent and intense that most members just refuse to even go inside and then just keep the place closed. So apparently that particular place is the one where everything really happens. So I'm sure when you watch these shows, that's kind of like that's the spot you want to go check out.
Yep.
I mean, you've also got other spots on the ship, like the front of the ship. When the sun goes down, people have reported seeing a woman or a man in like that time period clothing standing out there at the end of the ship, as if like they were enjoying themselves.
It's Jack Dawson.
Right? It's Jack and Rose all over again.
Paint me like your French horse.
No, but I think the freaky part would be the pool where they hit a little girl, right?
Yeah.
Now, see, just like Enrique was mentioning earlier, I don't know if people just make it like, oh, it's such a big deal or something, but there's a video where it shows you can hear a little girl kind of like
Yep.
saying something.
That was from sightings from the
Is it Sightings?
paranormal show from the
I don't know
1990s.
what it is,
Sightings.
but
It's
you
an
hear a little-
amazing show,
is, right?
and it's a little girl. Yeah,
And it's just, you're wondering, is that real? Who knows? And
Yeah.
nowadays, and then I guess nowadays with those show, I don't know if it's Ghost Hunters or is a dude that's he collects stuff, like paranormal stuff, and he was a host. There's only 3 guys.
There's
well,
a bunch of
it's not
them.
Ghost
shows.
Hunters anymore.
No,
I think
it's
it's Ghost
something else.
Adventures probably.
Or paranormal, like
or-
paranormal something.
You know what?
think.
Most of those shows I always like.
Exactly,
But-
and those are the ones that exaggerate sometimes. That those are the guys, the type of people that make you think like, yeah, this is fake. Then
Yeah.
because we caught an orb, or at this moment we heard this voice, and I'm like, I didn't hear nothing, and they put the audio,
Yeah.
and it's like they didn't say that.
I used to believe in Ghost Hunters back in the days, but around mid seasons they switched production company, and it's
Oh.
like. They started faking shit.
Yeah,
I mean, they
that's
probably
right.
faked it originally, but I remember that there were a lot of episodes where they would investigate.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
at the end, it'd be like, nothing's here. Or we didn't find anything. Who knows?
Yeah,
That's why I believe in them, because I'm like, yeah, they wasted their time.
And then all of a sudden
for everything, like
they
they would go
find
to the
something.
neighbor and it's like, oh, we found something over here. Come over here.
there's that one dude that's like, oh my god,
Yeah. What was that?
and then they stay quiet.
What was that?
And then cut to commercial.
Dude,
No, they cut
dude,
to
I just
commercial.
felt cold right here. Look at my hair. Look at my hair.
And
Like,
it's always
come
as soon
on,
as
man.
like, hey, I like, wait, what was that sound? And you hear that like kind of sound effect that builds up.
Yeah.
And then
At this moment.
and then commercial, and you're like,
Yeah.
of course you're gonna go to commercial, like right when
because
you
we got to
find
edit
evidence.
everything first. Yeah.
So that's the thing
Buy us
about
some time.
Yeah,
that's the
no
thing about
kidding,
Hollywood,
man.
dude. Like they Hollywood's so good at faking everything, and I say that because I was that kid that was invested in a certain show, and I'm trying to remember, and I can't think of it right now, but it had to do with like a bunch of teenagers in summertime, and I was really invested. Not the OC, it was another.
California.
But yeah, basically I would watch it religiously. Like I was into the drama, I was into the, back and forth, whatever. And the last season, the very last episode, there's 2 couples that like are done. They're completely, broken up. And she walks away, and then the guy just stands there, and the camera starts backing out, and you're like, oh, okay, like it's over. Then it keeps backing out, and you see him, and he's in front of a screen. And then it backs out, and you see all these people moving like cameras and lights and stuff and crossing over. And then it backs out more, and you see he's in a studio. And so it ends on that note, which makes you go, so basically,
all this stuff was fake.
I spent 4 or 5 seasons loving this show to realize that how fake it really was.
Yeah, man. It's
And
kind of
you-
like the ending to Star Trek Enterprise.
Laguna Beach, that's what it was called.
Oh, yeah.
Laguna Beach.
Yeah, those shows were
I was obsessed as a kid, and once I saw the green screen turn on and everyone walking, I went, "What the fuck?"
It's
dude?
like, what's that show? The one where Gossip Girl, and it was a dude all along.
Yeah, and it was a guy.
Which, by the
whole
way,
time.
I met that guy.
No way.
They filmed.
I thought you were gonna say, which, by the way, I
Yeah.
had a thing for. It.
No,
Whoa,
that-
dude, hello.
That's that show. You, because he comes out in You.
Oh, okay.
So they the building right next to me. They shot it there.
Oh, that's crazy.
Season 2, and I saw him, and he was like standing there, and then I guess they took a break, and I just called out Joe, and he turned. He comes to us, super cool guy.
Nice.
He comes to us, takes a picture of me and my son, and I go, oh, my wife watches your show. You know, we watch. At first, I said we watch your show, and like, wait a minute, like you and your son watch the show? I'm like, oh no, my wife mostly. But, you know. And way over there,
That's when you have to clarify.
Yeah.
Who watches the show exactly?
and it was him and another person. They were sitting down. I guess they were shooting a scene, and the girl, who was it? It was Jenny Ortega, I guess,
Yeah.
Wednesday. Which back then I didn't know who she was.
yeah.
But she was
still getting
she was way
known.
over there, and I was like, oh man. Now that I see her, like, oh, I should have. Hey, how's it going? Like, but yeah, it totally throws off. Back to how you were talking, like you're so into the show to think that it's real, and you're into it, and then they just bust out with, "Oh, yeah,"
And you
it was
forget,
fake.
but you forget too. It's a TV show,
and then you're doing your research. You spend, like in this case, like you must have spent so much time doing research on all these stories to find out that, oh no, it was all BS, and it's like, darn it. It should have been real, you know. You shouldn't have told me, but yeah, exactly. Like, oh, wait a minute, you mean that was fake?
So Laguna Beach was a reality TV show, and you know, like the thing about reality TV for us is that we all kind of thought, like there was a while, like we thought that it was real, like Real World, for example. I thought it was
Yeah.
real, but only to find it. You know, a lot of it was. I mean, to use the word I've been using for a while, the Doyle taught us the social. What did he say again? It's oh my gosh, I forgot the word. It'll come back to me.
I blocked out that asshole.
Shut up. So social engineering, and so you see it in a microcosm in reality TV. You just get a bunch of people that you pick because you hope that there's going to be fireworks between them in some way, and then you lightly put pressure on them in a small little, like, you know, in a small little, like, it's like getting like a fish inside an aquarium. You know, you pair up certain ones with different personalities, and you look for like whatever happens. In reality TV, in the beginning, that's what it was, but as it went on, it became more and more scripted. So to your point earlier about the Laguna Beach, it was lightly scripted, is what the cast says about the show.
Yeah.
But I mean, if at the end of the day, that whole panning out of the thing was almost like a middle finger to the fans, like
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
you were invested in our stories, ha, jokes on you.
It's like they ran out of
Yeah.
ideas. They ran out of ideas, and like, oh, but we have contracts for 3 more seasons, guys. So what should we do? Like, just
Yeah,
And
California.
Adam Brody comes walking in.
So I sent you guys a picture to the group chat.
yeah, I saw this.
This is a picture that I took a long time ago. Let me give you the backstory. I know that you guys not gonna believe this, but
the pool.
so this is a tour that we had for my my wife's birthday when I don't know, like 8 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that. Now, this picture here, if you see it on the upper side, there are what seems to be 4 couples on the side.
Whoa.
But you see behind them, there's like some transparent 2 other people.
Aren't those 2
Yeah.
people there?
No, they weren't there.
They weren't there.
Now, here's the thing, though. I'm a loudmouth. You guys know me. I actually stopped and took the picture, didn't think nothing of it, and I'm like, and I was showing my wife. I'm like, yeah, look, that's the couples in front of us, and then those are the other couple, the Latin couple that's there, and then we're like, wait, who's that right there? So we couldn't figure it out. We actually stopped and showed the picture to them, and just to make sure that I didn't forget that there was somebody there, and they're like, no, it's just us 4. So those people behind them were not
They're
there.
not supposed to be.
I
so
even
that
showed the
looks
host.
it looks like a woman with a short haircut.
Yeah.
She's not real.
She's not real.
It looks like a woman with a short hair. It looks like a tall guy in the background.
Yeah, he's like,
Wow.
But he looks like he's wearing some sort of like,
Hey,
I want to
okay.
say like 80s or 90s type
Yeah, I see
jacket.
like a
Are we
bellowy-
talking
a
about those
bellowy
people on
arm,
the
right?
upper right
Like
hand
a-
side?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
like behind the other
that
guy.
Behind them.
oh, the people behind them. Okay, because I was gonna say that That bald-headed guy looks like he looked like Eurotrash.
No,
He's like, yeah, do you want to go dance with me?
they were actually like these very nice older senior couple. They were there on a little tour, and then the ones next to them were like these, Hispanic, like pocho.
He came home
young
on the
couple.
Regos.
Wow, dude.
And the guys in the back were not there. And I even went up to them and I asked every single one, and I had the whole group of buzz. And then the host, basically the guy, he's like, yeah, that's around the area we usually get a lot of activity. So he goes, you got a good one there.
So
See,
why
that's right, man.
why do you think like there's like that specific area? Is it? I mean, I know there's that whole theory of water in the paranormal, but there's no water in the pool. There's only
But
water
there
on the
used to be.
outside.
There's a ghost of water.
I don't know
See,
what
it used to be water, but it died. That's the ghost of water.
Okay, I'm gonna throw water on you. Shut up. I need to know this water thing because I honestly have no idea what the connection with water and paranormal.
Yeah, so basically the theory is that if there's water around when there's paranormal activity, water is apparently a conductant, and it like increases the energy to be able for a spirit to do, I guess, whatever they want to do.
Similar to limestone.
Okay.
Yeah, similar to limestone, because stone apparently it holds the residual history of all the energy of anything that has happened. So let's take Gettysburg as an example.
Yes.
Okay, Gettysburg, horrible part of the war. So think about all the energy that is now in the ground and everywhere else around it. All the energy still stays around, so therefore you're getting all the activity there. I mean, it's nuts how it all works out. There's a whole thing about, and we can go into another time, but there's a whole thing about scrying, water scrying, where you basically have a pot with water in it, and you're taking pictures of the water being distorted. Yeah. And when you take a picture, supposedly in the picture, then you'll see either a face or something that is supposed to, I guess, let you know about a future thing going on, or let you connect with spirits, meaning that you can actually like kind of make out their face in the water.
Whoa.
It's
And
crazy.
there's always been kind of like superstition behind water as
yeah,
well. And
absolutely.
different lores and cultures.
The scrying is kind of like it's like the like a crystal ball kind of thing, right?
Yes,
Where you're peeking
exactly.
and you're trying to tap into that other
Absolutely.
side.
The crystal ball as well.
Yeah.
The crystal ball crystals are thought to be able to hold data or
Like energy
in
Yeah.
it. So that's why the crystal skulls, they basically are supposed to be some kind of like a scribe, like prophesizing.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Think about witchcraft. They have, Wiccans use crystals, right?
Right, yeah.
And that's all the energy that they're manifesting.
And patchouli.
And patchouli.
Which I like to smell. It reminds me of House of Blues.
Me too.
Patchouli.
I gotta remember. You know what? I gotta smell it again because I haven't been to House of Blues in years.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Memories.
Guys, patchouli smells like old man. So if you guys like the smell of old men, that's
Hey.
cochinos,
Enrique,
man.
I
why
mean,
do you
everyone has
think-
their own,
It's okay.
Enrique, why do you think I keep you around?
Yeah.
Patchouli.
Dude, I got my Chanel Block Undo on me. What are you talking about? And I smell good.
You got CK1.
No, right now.
CK1.
CK1. Bro,
Are those the same?
Oh, look at that.
There you go.
Got the Chanel.
I got the Chanel. It's all like smells nice.
man,
Oh,
look at
take
this
it in,
guy.
take it in, take it
Now
in.
you smell like a chick.
I smell like $1,000 and I run a podcast. Yeah.
No, man, I work all day and like so I at some point I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna take a shower. Psh, I'm just gonna spray myself with
That makes
cologne.
sense.
He does that
though.
every day.
Yeah.
Best shower ever.
No, I carry musk in my thing too.
Musk.
Yeah, and you make musk under your armpits, bro.
That's not musk.
Speaking of smells,
That's
you guys ever
Gillette
heard of
sweat.
you ever heard of phantom smells?
No, what's that?
You're about to have one right now. Hold on.
Oh no.
Yeah, okay, you can mourn that Tommy's chili burger some other day, bro. Just chill out. Okay, so well, phantom smells, my guy. I would love to
You
hear
like
about
cigarettes?
that.
So, to my understanding, phantom smells are basically residual smells of the spirit. So, let's say you're in a hotel room, like you're in a presidential suite, and you find out that the person that actually built the hotel used to stay there and everything and would always smoke a cigar. And then you get a random cigar smell. So, these phantom smells basically are just like residual things that would cause a smell in the home or in the wherever you're at, basically any paranormal thing. So having a cigar smell, having like the cologne smell of some sort. I mean, it's just really, I think it's just the spirit just doing the same thing, getting up, showering and then putting on cologne and walking out to go to work or whatever, not knowing that they're leaving behind that type of energy.
Yeah. I not with the smells, but like I've read it, and I've even seen. I think I saw it in some show years ago, one of these reality shows. But I know that there's this idea that you can imprint like so much energy, like for example, into the wall, particularly like wooden walls, and that you can tap into those sounds. I mentioned this once in the podcast where what they did was they put some sensitive recording equipment against the walls on a like an old, might have been a bar or something. And they recorded, and what they actually played back with some augmentation, what they heard was the sound of people clinking and drinking and talking, and which the sort of sounds that you hear at a bar.
Yeah.
And so, and this bar hadn't been open for like 80 or 90 years, and yet those sounds are still in there because of that much energy, that much feeling. I often wonder, on a side note, like, because I work at a school, a special education school, and there's a lot of energy there. You know, we got kids who have emotional disorders. They come from very traumatic backgrounds. I mean, I can tell you stories that'll break your heart. We also just have kids with intellectual disabilities, you know, kids who are on the spectrum. And so lots of high emotions everywhere. Now, the thing about our school, though, is that it's located at an old church, right? We rent out the back part of the church. You know how churches often have like old like school grounds or whatever. Well, we rent that part out, and that's our campus. And this particular church has been there probably about 100 years. Well, maybe like 80 or 90 years. It's been a long time. All wooden floors and everything. So this place is very old, and Angel can attest to this place. There's a sense of feeling, right? When we walk through the hallways.
There's a feeling of being watched at all times.
Yeah.
At all times in that place.
For us, like,
and this is a school, right?
This is a school.
Okay.
And for us, we've actually had experience. I've had like genuine experiences in there. Like, I've always believed in some paranormal aspect, but I've always been very skeptic. I tend to always be the person, well, let me look it up, let me do that. And usually looking it up enough usually is enough for me to say, oh, okay, well, you know, it's not a big deal. The experience that I had at my school, and I'll give you the short version, is a few years back, I was still going to Cal State LA, but I would stay at my job late at night, and the hallways would echo with walking. I would stay there late, and it was around this time, you know, when things get darker a lot earlier. So I want to say my class was at 9 o'clock, and I would stay on. My class over at Cal State LA was at 9 o'clock, and it's about 20 minutes away from my job. I would stay on my campus till about maybe 8 o'clock. So I'm sitting there. And I know that I am the only person on campus, right? The girl that normally would stay downstairs, had already left. I've already double checked that. And the school itself was pitch dark. Throughout the day, like when kids are there, you can hear everybody walking up and down the hallways. And my desk was facing away from the wall, which, you know, on the other side of the wall is the hallway. Now, all I heard was, this is late at night. I just hear,
oh man, that's
right,
dude.
and I hear it like I hear completely in 3D audio from my right hand side to my left hand side, and to my left outside of my door there's two bathrooms, the male and female bathroom, and then the stairs to go downstairs to leave. And I'm half expecting somebody to come to my door. My door is closed and nobody shows up, but they walk towards the bathroom. I hear the door open, it closes. I'm thinking, okay, that's odd. So I get up, I open my door, and it's dark, right? It's pitch dark. I look out, and I'm half expecting for somebody to come out of the bathroom. Nobody does. So and the lights are off. You can usually see the lights under the door of that bathroom. The lights are off. Again, all the hallways are dark. So I'm back on my desk. I'm working. I can't see the door of the bathroom from my desk, but I could hear everything because that door is open. I hear the door open, and they walk behind me, like not behind me, but in the hallway behind me on the wall. I get up and look. I see nobody. Okay, I see nobody. Long story short, you know, nobody was there. I triple checked. I text downstairs to see if the girl was still there. She had been gone for about an hour. I checked with my boss. He said everybody's gone. All the lights were off. When I got my stuff quickly, put everything away. I don't think I turned off my lights in my room. I left, went downstairs, went outside. From outside, I can see that all the lights are off in all the classrooms. So nobody should be there. Nobody should be walking by. To this day, I don't know who that was. I don't know if it was somebody. Could have been some straggler who walked in. I don't know. But honestly, I'm almost 100% certain that it was something other than a person.
I would have ran like the Three Stooges.
Was it that Tommy's burger that you ate the other day?
It was Mao.
It was Mao. What
was her name? Mao? Bao?
Mao Bao?
Bao?
Oh, what are you talking about?
The girl in your class.
No.
Bao Mao.
Okay, so Bao is
Bao.
like...
Bao. Yeah, that
Are
one.
you making fun of my students, Angel?
Not
I
at all.
shouldn't even be saying the names of my students on there. Thanks, bro.
That's a fake name. Go ahead. Good save, Angel. Good
You're
save.
fired.
Heyo.
Hey, oh.
No, that for those who listened before, you guys know that story about the phantom student in his classroom. You two don't know it. You want to give them a quick little rundown, like 2-second rundown, so they can see
So
highlights.
you know what? So we had a student, and honestly, dude, she's still alive. So I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure she's still alive. I don't know. So I don't know if it was her, but we essentially saw one of the. She was a lady who used to work there and clean up after. She came into the room and she was putting stuff away, and she thought she saw somebody like by my front desk where my smart screen is at, and she got freaked out. So she backed up and like hit the wall and kind of staggered out because she was really startled by what she thought she saw somebody. Whoa. And she could have sworn that she saw, but she said hello and she thought it was a girl. And so all of us just assumed that it might have been, because we said, well, I think she said the name, she said a name that sounded like Bao, which is close to the name of one of my students who used to be a student because she wasn't there anymore. And now the student's not dead. That's the thing of it. She's not dead. So thankfully she's, she had left our care and went off, her family put her in more intensive care somewhere else. But who knows? I don't understand paranormal activity. It could have been somebody else. Mind you, the community that we work out of, there's a lot of Asian people there. It's a heavily Asian community. In fact, the store that's right across our parking lot is the 99 Ranch, which, if you guys are familiar with the LA area, they're very famous Asian markets, right? They sell everything, ramen and all the ingredients you need for making all the different types of Asian food. So our community is very heavily Asian, has been for a long time. So if there is a ghost there and it is Asian, that would kind of make some sense.
That's where Enrique gets his cream of some young guy.
Oh my God.
I thought it was some young boy.
No, he's graduated.
Wow. Look at you growing up.
Arigato, hey.
Cochinos.
Not me. I'm not the one who gets the cream of some young guy. No, but that story has always creeped me out. I'm kidding about.
Yeah, I'm giving you the short version of it.
Version.
Though.
Yeah, go back and listen to last year's episode, and then you'll get the rest of it. So
that's wild.
I didn't ask, but Robert, do you believe in paranormal things? Or?
Oh yeah,
not everything, but
I know there's something out there. There has to be something out there, and there's of course, we've had that in our apartment. Actually, the apartment that we used to live in before, we would wake up with the cabinets open.
He lives in Los Feliz.
Oh, really?
Which is a really big paranormal stuff.
Yeah.
So we realized, and then we would hear noise, and there's been times where in the morning I would be asleep, and then I would feel like someone sitting on my bed, and I'm thinking it was my wife when it wasn't. I look and I'm like, oh, she's not even here, and it just felt weird. And it's not something that I got all psyched out on. I was just like, oh, well, whatever, But then my wife is the one that kind of got a little like, hey, this is kind of weird,
Yeah.
And, she, of course, being funny, hey, shoot, at least help clean the house or something, help out. She used to work, with a woman that she does the witchcraft type of stuff. She does a lot of the crystals and stuff like that, right? I don't know if she's the one that recommended her or my wife just caught on with something, but we actually bought a piece of sage, and she lit it up, went around the apartment, and that's it. Nothing else happened after that.
Shit, and
it's just weird, it's just weird, and and now and it's just like but we have. That's what makes me think like there has to be something out there, and those were the things that happened to us that I was like, yeah, that's creepy.
That's a trip.
It's funny because you see it on TV and you hear people talk about it all the time. You hear real actual ghost stories, and then when it happens to you, you're like, there's no way. Like,
how exactly.
Is that?
How can I? And then they're gonna call me crazy, Like here, I'm like, no, it's just. But I'm not. I didn't say it out there. I didn't spread the word. Like, oh man, It's just something that you know what?
You were dealing with it personally.
I dealt with it. No problem. Of course, it would have been something serious. Like, oh man, I got pulled by the head. It's like then, of course, paranormal activity type of thing.
Kind of call the church and all that.
But stuff like that.
The power of Christ compels you.
What was that movie? This is the end when they do that scene.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, really, Jay? Really? Does it compel me?
Does it compel me? Really? Yeah.
So yeah, that's I do believe in things is kind of like, you know,
Bump in the night.
Yeah, you know, and it's questionable. Like it's like, dude, I like to look into it. Like, whoa, wow. But
It's funny when I met my wife, she was not a believer, and then like we had experiences at the old house that we used to live in, stuff like that, and she became a believer, and then now she's like not a believer again because she's like, well, I don't know, looking back, and I'm like, no, dude, like we lived it, and she's like, yeah, but it's like we don't have actual physical proof, and I'm like, well, that's true, but I mean, I saw things and I had witnesses, and you know, shit has always gone down, but she's like, to this day does not believe. So I'm like, what?
I often wonder, like, the people that used to live in the Amityville house, you know, like anyone that's lived there.
That one, by the way, has been debunked because
Shut up.
it's been debunked. Some of the stuff has been debunked.
Shut up.
By the way,
all that research that Enrique made.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff about that house.
Enrique says shut up just because he wants me to shut up, not because he thinks I'm wrong. I'm on to you, Enrique. No, but
You're onto me. Yeah.
anytime
You're
the-
onto my tricks.
anytime the Warrens are involved in a case, I say bullshit because they are complete bullshitters. The
who?
lore. The Warrens.
The Warrens.
Ed and Lorraine
Yeah,
Warren.
yeah.
They're complete bullshitters. They're good at marketing, and I know they might like them, but they're good at marketing. They're bullshitters. You know, they stole Hans Holzer's whole shtick with Sybil Leak and all that.
Yeah, it's funny actually. After doing that episode on my show, talking about the Warrens and then talking with their great grandson, I think the great grandson.
Yeah.
Oh no, the grandson. Like it was great. It was fantastic hearing about that. I didn't actually want to learn more about what they did. I wanted to learn more about who they were.
Yeah.
So finding out that like Ed Warren loved Halloween or like loved Christmas, like that was really cool because you know the movie's depicted as like that all they did was paranormal research and they you know debunked things and handled exorcisms and all that. And it's like that's great, but you know they're also human.
Yeah.
And there's other things that they do. And so you know Chris McKinnell, who was actually on the show, he talked about just like the fun things that they did, which I thought was great. But then, you know, years later, you start really getting into it and then going, hold on a second. I just read an entire thing in Holzer's book.
Yeah.
And that sounds just like the case that they had worked on.
The Warrens would really shadow Holzer
and I feel it's because no one really knew about Holzer's book.
No.
Except if you were in the paranormal community.
Right.
In search of ghosts. He has a bunch. He was the first one who took science and you know psychics and try to like get something out of it.
He made a
He was amazing.
He made a very valid point. I was reading last night in his book, which I love that book. It's
Ghosts.
fucking huge.
I have the first edition. Mine's like that thick, man.
What's this book called?
Ghosts.
Ghosts.
That's it?
Yeah, it's just called Ghosts. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a huge, thick. I almost brought it. Actually,
Enrique.
I'm glad I didn't.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's a
I
thick
saw
book.
yours. The third edition.
Yeah.
The first edition is like 2 times that
I still
size.
need to get the first edition.
So
I
what's the
will
name of the guy?
I will let you borrow it. Hans Holzer.
Hans Holzer.
He was actually the first book I found that like I wanted to just read, like ghosts, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Not realizing how Holzer paved the way for paranormal investigation.
He really did.
Last night I was reading about we were talking about poltergeist stuff and I was doing some research last night and I found out that like his theory on poltergeist activity is 2 things. 1, attention, energy attention, and 2, that it's weird to say, but it's like on the same spectrum of sexual activity.
Yeah.
It's so weird. The comparison that I was reading was really interesting. Something about how, like, it sounds so weird, but it's true. An orgasm, when humans orgasm, that level, the intensity of that orgasm is the exact same energy level of a spirit being in the room.
Oh, dang.
That's why the French call it le petit mort.
It's so wild because like he even mentions that like, okay, well, what about like, you know, regular people with no disorders? Okay, they create that type of energy. So obviously if you have a disorder, you can't create that type of energy. No, you can, because all humans have that same type of energy.
Yeah.
Which is again on
Also
the same,
non-humans as well, though.
as it's, yeah,
Because even
same
pets
level
and stuff sometimes.
and it's the same level as having an orgasm. And it's weird to think that. So we watch, like, the case with Ed and Lorraine Warren when they go to London and the kids are, being possessed or whatever. Like, that's great, but there's also the attention getter of the reason why poltergeists are being created or happening in the home or happening in wherever it's at. It's because there's, again, weird to say, some sort of sexual tension. And it's not like, oh no, we need to have sex and it'll be fine. It's something more. It's something deeper. No pun intended. It's something a lot deeper though. And it's interesting, just the comparison of that. And that, again, just blew my mind last night, just reading about that.
Dang.
And this man, he has case after case after case of poltergeists and why it's okay to not be afraid of having a poltergeist, because the movie's depicted as evil and destroying stuff and throwing things at you and all that. And that's not the case. The case of a poltergeist is, but it requires a lot of energy to be able to say, all right, there goes the cup,
Yeah.
So it's Hollywood definitely depicts it in a way that makes it go, cool, I'm scared, don't need to watch it, don't ever want to, touch it, do it, whatever. But then you get into it and you're like, oh wait, so a poltergeist has to have enough energy just to move the cup. Or I put my keys down and then all of a sudden, how did my keys end up in my jacket if they were over on the table?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a poltergeist. Well, yeah, but that poltergeist has to create that energy
to carry,
and
the keys
you
over,
have to also give that energy too. If your home is full of negative energy, it's going to be negative. If your home is full of positive energy, maybe it'll be positive. I don't know, but it's all about how much energy you put out. So again, orgasms, energy, spirits, poltergeists, the same level of energy. Again, it was so awesome just learning about this last night.
So I absolutely believe there is a connection between energy, feelings. I mean, let's replace the word energy with feelings, right? Emotions, with activity that you would find in a certain place. I feel like, for example, we talked about my school earlier, and I truly believe that a lot of the energy that's been pent up there from years. I mean, the school's been a special education school for about 30 years, I think. Maybe more like 25, but
and all of those hardcore emotions from those kids.
Absolutely. I mean, I can tell you
that explains your issue. Why you ended up crying, because you had that feeling energy.
That's exactly. There was, and again, there was already so much happening in my life,
and that made it.
And so I became susceptible to that type of energy.
There it is.
It was a balanced out same energy of like, this is me going through my stuff, while that spirit is also down, depressed, sad about whatever.
Right.
It was so wild. Yeah.
So there is a connection between empathetic people and their susceptibility to more paranormal experiences. Now, whether one precludes the other is the question. Like, are you empathetic because you're susceptible to paranormal activities, or are you, or are there paranormal activities because you are susceptible because of empathy? It's a big question, because on one hand, one speaks to credibility, maybe, or maybe to intent. The other one might just mean that you're just more open. So, like, for example, mediums might say that they're empathetic to spiritual feelings. I will just go back to saying that at a setting like my school, in the daytime, you don't feel it because there's kids there. And so maybe the energy is balanced, but there are days, and it happens often, where things are very quiet. And at the school, we're having less behaviors, and yet me and the staff, we can sense something. We'll say like, well, there's something odd about today, isn't there, guys? And there's usually this kind of consensus. Obviously, it's not the most scientific thing, but there is a feeling that we all can kind of, like, all of us kind of share in some way. Like, there's just something weird. And the only way I can describe that feeling is this sense of, not dread, but more like this sense of like something was there, but it's not, and you're kind of waiting for it to fill up again. Right? Whether it's bad or good, I don't know, but it's certainly a palpable feeling. Today was one of those days. There was not a lot of behaviors, except for maybe one in my classroom. I don't want to get into that one. It's pretty gross. But there were behaviors, and yet the rest of the campus, like the hallways were kind of empty and kind of quiet, but yet I could feel this kind of sense of like, I don't know if it was sadness or depression or don't know, but it was something. And I do think that at schools, it might even be true of like at schools, like in general, like you go to a high school after dark, and there might be this sense of emptiness that is more empty than, say, any other space, just because earlier in the day there was just so much energy there. Now that it's gone, it's still, there's still something there. The emptiness is like palpable. Now, whether that's attached to like actual paranormal activity or just maybe something that we don't understand in terms of energy, I don't know. But
Well, my son's in the room, but he's not mic'd up, so he can't really
say anything.
come in the conversation. But he goes to Whittier High School, old high school. You, Robert, went to it for a bit. You went to it for a bit. My question is, did you guys ever feel or hear any stories about Whittier High School?
I only went for one semester. I only went for half of one semester, so I don't really know much.
So then you're no good to me.
Yeah. The tunnel. I don't know if they still have that tunnel that goes under the.
Oh yeah, that's still there.
Okay, so that.
What tunnel?
There's a tunnel that goes from what is it?
The main
Philadelphia.
part, the main part of the campus.
To
it
the
goes
new campus.
underneath, and to the other part of the campus, which is like the auto shop and the other classrooms over there.
Yeah, those
French
type of
class.
tunnels used to be like all over LA.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
There were ways to, there were ways to promote like creating more roads.
Yeah.
And as opposed to like making more pathways for pedestrians. Instead, they're like, well, let's just make underground tunnels and let's just open up the roads in order to make more freeways.
Yeah.
And that's how Chud was created.
Well, funny enough, those pathways, like even like in downtown LA, all became like homeless and crack dens and terrible things
That's why they
happen.
They
shut
recently
most of them
closed
down.
one right there close to my place. Yeah.
They all just
Which is
became
too bad.
places for people, for homeless to go and chill out and get out of the rain, basically.
There's
Pretty much,
there's a movement on some areas to try to kind of retake back some of those, the ones that haven't been
I
completely
would love
closed.
that.
Yeah,
it's not gonna
there's
happen.
one or two that have happened.
It's not going to happen. That's what sucks.
It's not. There's one in El Sereno. Years ago, they had a Day of the Dead thing, and they opened it up, and they had like the whole thing was the altar, and it was gorgeous. And I was like, dude, they should do this more often. But they've never done it since.
Yeah, no.
Was this that one time?
Just that one time.
Dude, what the hell?
Yeah, it was.
That's crazy.
It was awesome. It was when me and my wife were
I think they closed. Of what I heard with that tunnels, they have to, because they want to close them off due to, I guess, just in case they're so old that
the upkeep.
they
thing
could
is
probably
the structure is just
they
not-
could probably fall, and imagine people are under there and then it just falls on top of everybody. So it's like, and then they try to fill it up with concrete, but that's going to
Too
take
heavy.
a lot of concrete to cover that tunnel.
Yeah.
So the best they can do is just keep gating it off.
Yeah.
But the homeless people,
They can do plugs.
they
They can do plugs. There's ways to do it. If you can build
Yeah.
it, you can destroy it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I mean,
but there's I
was
think
lazy.
they even closed it down to the point where they put like
plywood, and stuff
plywood or
in it.
something,
Yeah.
and the homeless find either way to get in there, and they find out that people have been living there. They would connect extension cords from the stores that are close by from
Yeah.
the tunnel where that I'm talking about, and they would cover it with grass and they would take it to the tunnel, and they have electricity.
Yeah.
And they
Well,
got caught, and it just
It'll
all of a
always,
sudden,
it'll always be a thing. They live in under freeway underpasses and things like that.
yeah.
In France, there was in the catacombs. There was a whole underground community of French people living under. They had their own movie
that's
theater, their own
right.
banks.
Yeah.
They called themselves the Perforated Mexicans. I have no idea why.
Perforated Mexicans.
The Perforated Mexicans. That was the name of their crew, and
That's
they
weird.
had
In the catacombs,
In the
too.
catacombs of France.
Yeah.
Why perforated Mexicans? I don't understand. that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the.
Just
But yeah. So going back to the tunnel though, over at Whittier High School, I mean that basically just it's easier. I mean, they do. I'm guessing because I haven't been to the high school in like a long time, but they do have the students crossing the street. At
Oh,
the
now
end.
they do.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they still cross the street.
Isaac takes it. You take the tunnel, right, to go to the other campus. Yeah,
Are they still
yeah,
having
so they
students
said yes.
cross the street as well?
Yeah, on Mondays.
Oh wow!
Oh,
It's
certain
only Monday.
days. Oh, okay.
I remember when I was there, like they had people crossing the street
Yeah,
every single
no.
day, and it would slow traffic down. I
Yeah.
mean, it was ridiculous. Yeah,
Yeah, that's why I don't know. So I cannot really speak, because
Yeah.
I've only
but
been.
Monkey, are there any stories of like ghosts and stuff for Whittier High School? Not really.
oh, there is.
No. He says no.
Oh,
you said there is.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there is.
There's some stories. Yeah.
Quickly before we go, because we're out of time.
Okay, yeah. So real quick, Whittier High School, and this is Monkey. If you don't mind, I'm gonna call you Monkey. You can tell your friends about this. Okay. So there's the Whittier High School Theater. That's where I guess you guys still have your assemblies there.
Yeah, some of them.
Okay, so the Whittier High School Theater, supposedly the story goes that there was a janitor named George who died in the theater. He fell off the second story of the
Yeah, the
theater.
balcony.
Yeah, supposedly broke his neck, died on impact.
Had to be named George.
Right? I know. I love all the names too, like George. Way to go, Jorge. But yeah, so
Flat earther.
so supposedly there is this janitor that haunts the theater. I will say that there was one time after doing a production in the high school, we played a game called Sardines. I don't know if anyone's ever played that game. Basically, you just go and hide. Once one person hides, everyone goes look for that person.
Hide and seek.
Yeah. If you find that person, though, instead of saying, "Oh, I found you," you stay with them until the last person has to find everybody.
Oh.
So it's called Sardines. So we're playing the game Sardines. This guy, Rick, he basically was running all the sound and everything. Spooky music, which was great. We played in the dark.
Wow.
Underneath in the green room.
Yeah.
I remember looking, like just going down there like, oh, he's got to be on here somewhere. And there's a section, there's two parts of it, men's changing room and women's changing room. And there's like a middle section where you can kind of just like hang out, get ready to go on stage. I was going from the guy section to the girl section, and I'm cutting across, and I remember seeing the door for the women's changing room slowly closing on its own, and I'm like, oh, somebody probably walked through or whatever. I go through, there's no one in there. And also, I am the third to last person to go and find where everybody else is hiding. Yeah. So I'm downstairs the entire time looking and looking and looking, and I keep seeing the door close on by itself. So that's making me go, that's a possibility. I mean, we've already created the energy of like music and sound and big and spooky. Right. Everyone's freaking out. So why not have a door randomly just start closing? Now, again, it could have been somebody else running around, but I really felt like somebody else was down there playing the game with us.
Interesting. I know we're almost out of time, or we're probably already out of time. I used to work at different theaters, and I'm sure Angel have heard of these. There's these things called ghost lights. You put them in the middle of the stage, right?
Yes.
And the whole idea is to like ward off and also invite like good energy while
to
warding off bad one.
Yeah, whatever theater spirit or whatever spirit's inside that theater, it just allows them to see where they're going and be like, hey, just letting you know you're still in the theater. Yeah.
No way, really?
It's an old tradition. Usually you find like a lamp that's it's almost like think of the like it's on a pedestal, and it looks almost like the ones that I've seen look like actual like big light bulbs like on a stick, but they all look different everywhere.
Whoa.
So every theater should have them. I don't know if like high schools do this, but I know Bell Gardens had one. Now
they had one, yeah.
When I worked at the Schubert Theater, because I worked at the Amundsen Theater, Dorothy Chandler before they opened up Disney Hall. I worked. I used to be an usher there, and I also worked the first few years when Kodak Theater opened up on Hollywood and Highland. I don't know what it's called now, but at the time the Grammys.
Dolby, I think.
Dolby.
Yeah.
Okay,
Dolby Theater.
I worked there when they opened up, so I was the first group of ushers that worked there. So I was able to work the Grammys. Now, at the Schubert, because it's not there anymore, they destroyed the place. There was always stories of ghosts there, and myself and at the time Josie worked with me, my friend Taylor, my friend George. We would all work, and we worked at different floors.
George?
There was another George. And one of the jobs that we had was to make sure that the ghost light was put on, and to just kind of walk around behind where all the actors get dressed or whatever, and just make sure that nobody's left behind. But there was always sightings of somebody up in the like third floor. I would say the balcony. You can usually see them from the stage, and so we walked around with a camera. And I haven't gone back to the footage in a long time, but I know in the footage we saw something. I have to go back and digitize this thing. But my first and second hand account, my account is I was on the stage next to the ghost light. I could look up on up in the balcony area, so it's like one of the third or fourth row, and we saw somebody sitting there. And so I radioed into Maria, who was the head usher, and say, Maria, I think there's a person up in the balcony. And he goes, is it? And she said, is it on the says house? Is it house right? I'm like, yeah. She goes, don't worry about it. I'm like, oh, okay. I go, and then Josie and Taylor were clearing those areas on the top, and they said, hey, we'll check it out. And she said, no, don't worry about it. But at that point, I saw Josie walk in, and that shape disappeared. And so she said, from her angle, she said, I saw it and it just disappeared. I asked, hey, are you lost? And the person didn't say nothing and disappeared. So apparently this thing had been there. Now, what happens when that building gets destroyed, where's that person at now? Because now they're
floating, sitting floating.
Because that whole place now, they're office buildings and stuff. But they destroyed that whole place, and that wasn't the only kind of sighting. Maybe we'll save it for another time. But that was like the one that I saw, and it was creepy, but very cool.
They say that after a building is destroyed, the energy is gone.
Okay,
it's dissipated. That's not always the case, though. I've heard of other
sometimes
places.
something replaces it, and it's still in the same spot.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of it's not only my theory, but this is the way that I explain it. Is there's different types of ghosts. There's the VCR tape, which is just you're stuck in a loop. There's the smart entity,
Residual haunting.
Yeah,
Smart hauntings.
yeah, smart haunting. And then there's the what I call elementals, which
Yeah.
are things that were never human.
Smart
They call it-
hauntings.
They actually call it an intelligent haunting.
Okay.
It's
The
because-
Maitlands from Beetlejuice.
yeah, basically the spirit
Fully conscious.
can interact, understands, knows what's going on. Can have that connection with you. That's an intelligent haunting. Residual means that they get up and they do the same thing every day, not realizing that they're dead.
Okay.
And then what was the last one? Sorry.
Residual.
Elemental,
the
yeah.
demon, elemental, non-human.
Yeah, the
entity.
non-human entities.
Yeah,
And which of those three are the most harrowing, you guys would say?
the smart entities. The ones that are
yeah,
more
Well, the
intelligent.
scary ones would be the intelligent because you're interacting.
Yeah.
But
Or the
wouldn't
non-human
the elemental ones be because they're like a force of nature? It
Nature,
almost seems
yes.
like. Wouldn't those be the most like scary?
It's elemental to an extent.
Okay.
Because it's a lot of it's like, well, okay. Prime example would be like the wind is howling outside.
Okay.
Okay, and so we're hearing a voice over and over and over. So we kind of have to go with what's called. Oh gosh, there's a certain name. Sorry, the music is so good right now. Let's see. It's not para. It's something else.
Okay.
But there's another name for it where basically like because the natural elements are happening, it's causing that to happen. So it makes it xenonormal.
Xenonormal. Okay. All right.
But as far as like the inhuman spirits, like those are the ones that like are the demonic ones, the ones that are causing the
demonic.
problems.
Poltergeist.
Those are the ones that make you feel sick.
Okay.
Yeah, there's been a lot of those where people are like, my stomach doesn't feel good, I have a headache, my neck burns for some reason, getting scratches on the back, all that.
Taco Bell's a demon.
Taco
is a
Bell's a
demon.
Del Taco for me.
That Tommy's burger.
Got that fuego sauce,
Which
man.
it goes-
You
smell.
keep talking about Tommy's Burgers. I'm gonna have to go get one.
Yeah, that's my. I'm here representing
Is that what
Tommy's
you're doing?
burger.
Okay.
Sponsored by Tommy.
Don't make eye contact while eating your Tommy burgers.
Oh god,
Close your nose too.
God, this was fun, man. I wish we had more time,
Yeah.
but it's the end of it. Robert, anything to say?
Nothing. This was an awesome show. This was an
Pretty
awesome
good, right?
episode. Yeah.
I mean, it should be longer,
Heck
but
yeah.
I mean,
That's what she said. But, you know, it's okay.
yeah. The other people that were here before us were greedy.
They were
I'm kidding.
It's
Enrique?
my podcast, I want more time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I honestly really enjoyed this. This was fantastic. Honestly, I've been like when I first heard your show some years back, I loved it. I remember
you.
telling Angel how great it was, and I'm glad that you were able to come on. And
Oh, thank you.
man. I
Appreciate
would
it.
love a chance to go on your show and hear because you're so knowledgeable, man. I got
dude,
like tons
yeah.
of questions and stuff, and maybe with Angel's less, toilet humor. But I love the guy. Love you, baby.
I can't wait. I can't wait till you guys talk about the Queen Mary, man. I'm so looking forward to
Yeah,
that.
that's
Yeah.
one of my. I know it's one of my favorites, and I've been avoiding it because it's so easy to talk about.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, there's so much research to do first.
And I'm looking
yeah.
forward to you getting in depth on Turbo Canyon at some point in the future. I hope.
Yeah,
Because there's so
absolutely.
much there now.
The monster is what I want to learn the most.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
we
and
got
the
this,
one
so-
other thing I want to say is there's an interesting article on LAist called Unearthing LA's Pedestrian Tunnels and Their Roots in Our History of Traffic Violence. Please check out that article. It's really interesting about those underground tunnels we were talking about.
Good to know. G-Man,
Yeah,
it's been lovely to have you here, man. I wish you could be here more often, but I know how it is.
This has been fun, though. Seriously, you guys are awesome. Like, it's funny when you hear a podcast and you're like, oh, that's what they sound like. Cool. Then you meet them and you're like, these guys are freaking awesome. I love it.
Appreciate it.
Give us a quick little pitch of what you got coming out. Little
Yeah.
promo.
Well, I'm coming back actually. I've been gone for a little while, was dealing some life stuff, but I'm coming back with more episodes. And one of the first things that I'm doing is a Halloween special. I have a Halloween episode coming out on Halloween.
Awesome.
Very
So
nice.
that'll be fun. And then
Very nice.
my next one will be about the Ghost Club.
Cool.
And about all the people that are involved and stuff. So yeah, so
Nice.
be on the lookout for those.
I can't wait, man. That's gonna be a great one.
Yeah.
So I'm glad he's back. Yay! The boy is back. Yay. And good times, man. Hopefully we can do this again soon. Guys, come on, come
Yeah,
back.
absolutely.
Show. Doyle who?
This was great. Thank you. Seriously.
We miss you, Doyle. Shut up, Angel.
I miss him with every bullet so far. So that's the show, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Ouchcast.com for all things ouch, and Into the Void for all things Into the Void, and of course, Keeping Up with the Nerds. And remember, never make eye contact while eating a banana.